All right, so my name is Glory Turnbull, and I'm here on the 13th of March, 2021, interviewing Ben McReynolds, avocational archaeologist. All right, so when were you born, Ben?
November 3rd, 1942.
1942.
And I was born in San Antonio, Texas.
Did you live in San Antonio for most of
Yes, I did.
And when did you get around to living further south?
Well, I guess I must have been about 16 years old, something like that.
And how long have you been doing archaeology?
Oh, I've been picking up arrowheads or dart points, ever since I was a small child. My mother used to take my older brother out and to look for arrowheads, and they'd pick them up, and she got him involved in it. And then my older brother got me involved in it. So, I've been interested most of my life.
Right. So, do you know how your mother got into doing archaeology?
Well, yeah, it's a long story. She was born in Weatherford, Texas, and she was one of four sisters. And one of them was ill, and the doctor told her that they needed to move to a higher elevation for clear air. So they moved to Arkansas, and my grandfather bought a whole mountain. Black Mountain was the name of it. And he worked for the railroad at the time, and it was taking timber out. Anyway, on top of this mountain, there was a site up there where we would pick up arrowheads there, which was a child.
And are all of your siblings involved in archaeology?
No, oddly enough, none of my children are really interested in it. And, well, everybody has their own way to go. And anyway, they chose to do other things, be interested in other things.
How about like your brothers? Are either of them interested?
Yeah, I have two brothers. They're both interested in it.
Okay.
We, as children, I guess it was about in the early 50s or mid 50s, I want to say, the bridge on the Pecos River had washed out the original bridge, and they had a low water crossing. And we started to go down then there as, kids. I was probably about 12, 13 years old, I guess. And what happened was there was four of us, and we were pulling a little trailer behind an old car. I don't remember what model it was for a year. And we were camped on the Devil's River. We stopped down there. We went down there just to look around. And woke up that morning and we could smell bacon frying and food cooking. And it was an old cowboy, and he was pulling a horse trailer with a horse in it. And he said, "You boys get out of that trailer there and eat some breakfast." So he had a Dutch oven, so he fed his coffee and biscuits and bacon. Best breakfast I ever ate in my life.
It sounds really good.
Yeah. So he wanted to know what we were doing. And we said, "Well, we come down to look for arrowheads." And he said, "Well," "I'm going to take y'all to a place that you can find some." So he took us down to the Pecos River to the low water crossing. We parked on a gravel bed down there. And he took off like a mountain goat was on foot. And we were following him. I had a heck of a time keeping up. And he took us to some shelters, And he said, "Y'all can come down here and look for arrowheads." But he says, "Whatever you do," he said, "don't ever touch one of these paintings." And that was something we never did. That was gospel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, we started going down there, going up and down the canyons and looking for airheads and whatnot. And in 1963, I went in the military and I got out in 67, so I missed 4 years there. But I got married to my wife overseas and I brought her back and she made a trip with us while she was pregnant. She'd been here a while. She was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And she hiked up and down them canyons with us, no problem. And anyway, it's a place that's used to be really wild, you know. It was really, the javelina and deer were so tame that a lot of places we went, they just really didn't recognize what you were. And of course, when they flooded that reservoir, which they started flooding it in 67 when I got out, well, we went down there, started going down there with Joe Labadie. He was the park ranger at the time. And we went down there several times with him, showing him a lot of where these sites were at that he didn't know, you know. And anyway, but, you know, we really got involved in it. And my brother, he's an artist, he sketched some of the paintings, you know, on the walls and whatnot. And we began to realize how really important the sites were. And I think, you know, after a while, we really stopped, you know, going into these shelters and whatnot, you know. They really need to be protected. And in fact, whenever they flooded that reservoir, people started going down there, and even in one site, they tried to chip out a painting out of the wall. Yeah. And it got to where, you know, the park shelter just didn't have enough people to take care of it. Mm. And so people started going down there and really started looting these shelters and whatnot. And anyway, it was got to where it was really a sad situation, you know. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff that, you know, I have, you know, we did get from them shelters, but we didn't get in there, and we did do some minor digging, but we didn't get in there and really loot these caves, you know, like it really started to happen after they flooded that reservoir. And anyway, that's really where a lot of this collection come from. A lot of them come from up on top of the canyon realms. Some of them, you know, for those small shelters and whatnot on the surface of them, you know. Some of it was actually screened for. And of course, after that, you know, got into archaeology, and I've gone to or joined several archaeological societies, and gone to digs, you know, archaeological digs. And I've gone to field schools, and we've had them out here where we're at now, you know, in several field schools. And been involved in it at the site we're at now for about 17 years. And I've been coming to the museum here, I guess, for about 16, 17 years too. So, we're all very conscientious now about what we do on a site. You know, we want to realize that the information is more important than the actual artifacts, really. about how people lived at the time. And anyway, I really against these places, these owners of the land are letting people come in and pay for digs. And it's destroying lots of sites, I don't know, what can be done about it, but other than educating people, to anyway, I love archaeology, and I think maybe some of this my lung condition has to do with some of this excavations and whatnot, breathing in that dust.
Wow, yeah.
But, that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So Richard, I know, does art.
Oh yeah, my brother Richard. He's drawn for just about every archaeologist in the state of Texas, and a lot of them out of the state. Has never charged anyone
Really?
for drawing anything for him.
Hmm.
He's made thousands and thousands of drawings, and of course he's got drawings in a couple of the Texas artifact books for Tom Esther and whatnot. So yes, and I'll tell you one, he's getting in pretty bad shape, and he can't do a lot of drawing now. Of course, he's in the 80s, and he's getting pretty shaky. And one of these days, he is a person that really needs to be recognized for his archaeological work. And I'm sure that a lot of these archaeologists will agree with that.
How about your other brother? What does he do?
My younger brother, yeah. As a young kid, he used to go down to South Texas brush country, all over ranches down there. Back in them days, all you had to do was most places just asked them ranchers if you'd go look, and they'd say, sure, go ahead, just don't, bother any cattle or anything, don't carry a firearm with you. Which we didn't. And of course, it's a different thing now. All of them, most places are high fenced, and most people look at artifacts as money, really, I guess, I want to say. So the old days are gone, and perhaps in some ways it's better, because I know in some ranches they just flat won't let you in on them anymore. They've been handed down to different generations now. So that's some ways it's good,
Right. What's the name of your younger brother?
Michael, yeah. And when he was younger, he used to go with us, but he quit doing that many years ago. He just turned out to be a workaholic. He was a 18-wheel driver, drove a truck for HEB for over 35 years. Wow. So, anyway.
Right. So did you ever go to school for archaeology?
Just, Archaeological 101. I went to, several, not anything really professional as far as, Frank Condrey and I went to Mild Canyon, which is similar, not similar, but I forget what to call it now. It's where the bison jumps at in Valverde County there. And we went to a 3-day school there.
Did you?
Put on by Steve Black.
Steve Black.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to college or university?
No. I've done most. I read a lot. I like to read more archaeological books and more. Pretty well self-taught and educated.
And outside of your military career, what have you done for work in your life?
Well, I was an electrician. Worked for a lot of construction companies and whatnot. Last few years, I worked for AEP. I was electrical superintendent for them. And of course, other jobs, I was supervisor on a lot of them, so I've had electrical experience for, I guess I started in about 1970, 70, yeah. And I don't know how many years that is, but I retired in 2004. And I have my master's license. But anyway.
Right. And do you think you ever use your skills in electrical work while you're doing archaeology?
No, not really.
I thought I'd ask. You never know.
Not in place really in most sites to get any electricity yet.
Right. Well, I think that'll do it